Hey, this is Brian again, and I'd like to ask you to do a favor. We can't do this work without people like you, so if you can, please like, share, subscribe, tell your friends about Bring Back The Porch.
The crowds were just phenomenal. Like there was, from the time you start to the time you finish, there was at least somebody cheering, whether it be one or two people or thousands of people in little areas throughout the communities. It was going to be pretty cool because you're going from one little town to the next little town, and because it's a holiday for them, it's Patriots Day, everybody's off of work, they've got the streets shut down, people are barbecuing in their driveways, just having like block parties. There was live bands playing in people's yards and big loudspeakers set up, and it was just a party atmosphere.
This episode of Bring Back the Porch brought to you by Bernie Leahy, River Street Realty. Let's get you home. This year at the Boston Marathon, there were something like 24,000 plus participants. One of them is seated across the table from me from Medicine Hat, Corry Leduc. Welcome.
Hi. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
The first question that comes to mind is why? I used to like to run sprint, but marathon, no.
Yeah, it wasn't initially on my list of accomplishments to do, but I had a local friend here who's done it 3 times, and he's a little bit older than me, and I thought, well, if you can do it, why can't I? And so that kind of started the pursuit, and I'm always up for a challenge. I've always got goals I like to set and meet every year.
Now, this is not just something where you send in your check and you're in the race. You have to qualify.
Yeah, you either have to qualify. For Boston, it's qualify, charity route, or there's tour packages. So there's only 3 ways to get in for Boston, and I wanted to get in by qualifying. So
was that your first marathon like that?
That first big major, yeah.
Okay, what are the other ones?
The other ones are New York, Chicago, and I'll be going to Chicago in the fall.
Okay.
And then Berlin, London, and Tokyo. Those are the major 6 originals, and then they've just added Australia last year.
Now, I think there's a historical perspective for the Boston Marathon. The course has some historical importance.
Yeah, it's when we went to Boston, Boston is such rich in history. It's amazing. Like almost all of the U.S. revolves around Boston's history. It's like one of the oldest in the U.S. in the world, the whole marathon kind of evolved around the Revolution and the Boston Massacre and the Boston Tea Party, and it all just kind of evolved from around that history.
Does that have something to do with the ride of Paul Revere?
Yes. Yep.
So the route is that's how they got 26 miles? And
it wasn't quite 26 at the time, and then they actually readjusted it. I think it was around 70s or something like that, or maybe a little earlier. I couldn't remember all the dates. I had so many dates thrown at me over the course of the weekend. Yeah. But they slightly adjusted it, and that's why it's way out in Hopkins is where it starts. So.
What was the experience like?
Oh, it was amazing. Like just the crowds were just phenomenal. Like there was, from the time you start to the time you finish, there was at least somebody cheering, whether it be one or two people or thousands of people in little areas throughout the communities. It was going to be pretty cool because you're going from one little town to the next little town, and because it's a holiday for them, it's Patriots Day, everybody's off of work, they've got the streets shut down, people are barbecuing in their driveways, just having like block parties. There was live bands playing in people's yards, and big loudspeakers set up, and it was just a party atmosphere.
Now, for some, it's a competitive race.
Yeah, some people will go there and they try to get their PRs. They're really fast. People are trying to win their age category, but no, I wasn't into that for this particular time because it was my first time there. I've done the hard work. I was just there to enjoy it.
I understand that the winning time this year was a record for the Boston Marathon because conditions were optimum, I guess.
Yes,
cool,
yeah. Tailwind. Yeah, it was perfect. Like the temperature for running was perfect. And spectators, not so much, but there was a little bit of a tailwind, a little bit of overcast, so it was a really, really perfect setting for the times.
So how do you start? They don't all start at the same time.
No, they normally they only have 4 ways, but this year they added 2 more just to kind of break it up a little bit. And so then they have the fastest 10,000 people, and then the next waves, I guess they call them. So they after 15 minutes, every 15 minutes they send out a wave.
Did you catch up to somebody?
Yeah, I did catch up to some people, but because I wasn't running my normal time, lots of people passed me, and I was okay with that.
Yeah, you weren't running against the clock.
No, I wasn't going for clock. No,
You were just there for the experience.
yeah, it was an experience. I want to enjoy absorbing all the atmosphere, the crowd, and just this historic of the course. There was lots of famous parts. There's Hopkinton's, there's Newton's Hill, of course. Heartbreak Hill is the most famous one, and then when you turn and go down to Boylston Street was something I'll never forget. You make that turn, and there's 4 blocks to go, and you can see the finish line from there, and there's like 6, 7 people deep along the sides of the course and screaming and hollering. And
So did you have the route memorized in your head so that you knew where the landmarks were?
Pretty much, yeah. Like I've seen it I've watched it on TV almost every year, and just looking on maps and stuff like that. So I kind of had a pretty general idea of where all the landmarks are. Although Heartbreak Hill, yeah, I'll have to say I was a little disappointed at Heartbreak Hill because I didn't know there was a hill there by the time I finished.
Oh, not like Medicine Hat.
No, exactly. I said, come to Medicine Hat and come down some of our Sholton Hill and Altawana Hill. Those are hills.
Yeah.
But that one, as I got to the top, and like, oh, that was a hill? Okay.
Oh, okay. Yeah. What was it like with your fellow competitors, participants?
Everybody's there just having a good time. They're cheering people on. I came up to the wave one wave that started before me was the assisted people. So the people that were blind, people that are deaf, all kinds of different disabilities. So you would come up upon them, and people would just simply go around them, and they were cheering these people on. Great, good job, athlete, good job, athlete. And it was amazing to see these people too. Like, they were blind, and you're running a marathon, and they just had one person in front of them, one person behind them, and they would just kind of use that as a gauge. Some of them had music, and they would just follow the music along.
Okay, yeah, so a totally different atmosphere than a competitive track.
Yes, for sure. Yeah, when it's competitive and it's for serious, you're dialed in. You wouldn't even notice the crowd normally. You're looking at your watch. You're thinking of your fueling and stuff like that. But yeah, it's different when you're just running for fun.
Did you meet anybody when you were there?
Yes, I did. I actually, it's kind of a funny story. We had rented an Airbnb just out in Quincy, and it was a 4-bedroom place. And a friend of mine was supposed to come, but she couldn't come because they were getting married this year. So I said, that's understandable. And so I had an extra open room, and I've been chatting with people online through Facebook groups. And one particular fella said that his Airbnb canceled on him, and he was stranded. He's like, I got no place to stay. Like, I'm like, hey, I've got an extra room. Like, maybe I'll chat with my group and see if they're interested. And, I got back to him. It's like, yeah, like, the room's yours if you want it. And so I looked him up on Facebook, and he was from Hamilton, Ontario, and super, super great guy. Like, his name was Jesse the Elf. Legally, that is his name.
Jesse the Elf.
Jesse the Elf, and he loves Christmas, and he dressed up in an elf suit, and he ran the Boston Marathon in an elf suit.
And how did he do?
He's a way faster than I was.
Really?
Yeah. Last year he did it. This is his second year. Last year he did it in 2:45, and he was going for under 2:40, but he didn't quite make it. He got to 2:48, so a lot faster than me.
And what was your time?
I was 3:31.
3:31.
Which is slower than me. Slower than usual for me.
But you were taking it all in.
Yeah, I was taking it all in. Yeah.
Yeah. Talk a little bit about your training, because you do something that is rather unique. You train with 4-legged trainers.
Yes, I started up a business called Canine Sprinters, and I take dogs out for runs, anywhere from 5 to 10K, sometimes 15, 20K, just depending on the dogs. A lot of the bigger dogs will go longer distances with me, and it was just a way to get me accountable to go out. Like, sometimes I was like, I don't really feel like going out, but I had an appointment, so I was like, okay, I'll go and pick up the dog, and they see me, and they're all excited, and so then I get excited with the dog. So it just definitely changed your mood and your mentality, your thought about it, and it also, making some money to help pay for traveling, because traveling isn't cheap nowadays.
Yeah. So the dogs, they know the way that you're going.
A lot of them do. I'm going to have to start changing up the routes, because I don't even have to tell them or nothing. A few dogs there I've taught them how to do the mushing calls, yi and ha, and so I've tried to get them to turn when I need them to turn, but now they just know the route so much that I don't have to say anything. They'll cross the street when I need to cross it and turn around when I normally turn around. So, but yeah, I'll have to try and change up the routes here.
Will we see you on the streets?
Oh, yes.
With the dogs?
Yeah, I'll be out. When I got back, I got booked right up for this whole week and into next week. And so, yeah, I'll be pretty busy now.
Have you got anything else on your calendar in terms of running?
I got some small runs. I always try and get at least something once a month. So next month I've got the Dinosaur Pump It Up run. June is the Hidden Oasis and K100. July is the Tabor Tough. August, no running ones. I'm doing the Battle Creek Showdown with the bikes.
Okay.
Out in Elkwater. September I've got a 100K run.
100K?
100K, yeah.
My God.
Yeah, out in Lethbridge. A friend of mine did the 50K last year, and so I kind of razzed her saying, oh, it looks like you're going to have to do the 100K next year. And she goes, well, I'll do it if you do it. So, I kind of goaded myself into it. So, okay, I'll go with you and we'll do that.
Now, is there hills? There's hills in Lethbridge,
there's lots
River
of hills.
Valley
Yeah,
there.
it's not an easy course by any means. And then I didn't quite really think it through because then a month later I got to go to Chicago and run a marathon. So,
how long does it take you to recover from an event like that?
I'm not too sure about the 100K, but like for Boston, I was good about 4 days later.
Okay. Do you have a special diet that you try to follow?
I did when I went to go for my qualifying. I really cut back on a lot of fats and sugars and stuff like that, and I dropped 20 pounds. And like I was really, really serious about it to get that qualifying time. But then once I qualified, it kind of fell off the wagon, and wasn't quite as motivated to stay on that diet regimen and everything. So that's kind of why I didn't really go for time as well at Boston, just because I hadn't had that intense training like I did.
Yeah. When you were running in Boston, did people hold out water for you? You always see that.
Yeah, there's people holding out water, oranges, freezies, like tons of people along the way that were offering all kinds of snacks and refreshments.
So when you're running like that, do you try to match up with somebody to kind of help pace you?
Yeah, sometimes you do. Yeah, you'll find someone that's kind of in a rhythm, and you'll just kind of hang with that person for a little while. If you're competitive, you would be behind the person and kind of drafting them and making them take the wind from you.
Yeah. When you're in Lethbridge, you better hope it's not a windy day.
I know, yeah.
Especially if you're running into it.
Yeah, it's in September, so anything could happen. Well, it's in Alberta. So anything can happen in Alberta at that time of the year. So,
is there a running community in Medicine Hat?
Yeah, that's actually a really good community. We got a couple groups, the Mad Hatters, and there's a Riot group. Park Run happens on Saturdays, and there's lots of different levels of people that run, walk. It's a great place to meet people too.
Yeah, and the training is ongoing. You can't park it for a month.
Pretty much, no. You don't park it. The only time you ever take a break is if you're injured or have something aching. But runners, that doesn't stop them either.
Yeah. I admire you for your stick-to-itiveness and the ability to work through. There's always, I guess, a barrier that you have to get through, and then once you've passed it, you get your second wind and. No, me, I was 100 meters and that was it, and I was done. I wanted to go and find something to drink, and so I have the utmost respect for what you do. So, Corry,
thank you
for the visit.
Well, thanks for having me.